I'm very excited to have my next guest join us. She's a very talented singer and songwriter, Diva Smith. On the sofa. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank
really
you for
appreciate
having me.
you taking time to chat. It's so wonderful to meet you. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
It's so hot here.
It is.
It's lovely.
We had to turn off the AC because it was rattling and making a ton
it's not
of
bad
noise.
in here, but in general.
But you must love the heat being from New York nowadays.
Yeah, it is much nicer to be here right now.
Yeah.
It is not great in New York.
At the time of this filming, it's on the cusp of Coachella, which we were chatting about. And I just got to know, out of this year's lineup, who's a standout for you?
Like I was saying, I'm very excited to see Post Malone because I love the new country record. I'm very into country right now. I'm excited to see Lola Young and Biba Doobie, who I've seen before, but she's great. And Kraftwerk, I'm very curious to see as well.
You've never seen them?
No.
Have you seen videos?
Like of the old, old videos. I'm excited.
I've seen them once.
When?
And even now, today, in 2025, I saw them 2 years ago. Still good.
They're still great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the epitome of a show.
Amazing.
Is Kraftwerk a band that you discovered on your own, or was that kind of handed down to you?
I think I just, like a friend showed me.
Yeah?
Yeah. I discovered most of my music on my own, I feel like. I was like we're a Beatles household, but other than that, it was very like, as soon as I got the internet and Tumblr and everything, I was like discovering.
You were a Tumblr girly.
I was, yeah.
Who was on your mood board?
1975 was a big thing, you know. That was like the main thing that I discovered through Tumblr.
1975?
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think of their music today?
I'm a diehard fan.
Yeah.
Like they can do no wrong for me. But it's been really, really nice to like evolve with an artist. I think that's like something that I admire and I aspire to do, and how different all of their albums are. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's so interesting how people consume music. Some are just throwaways, fun, dance, and it captures a moment in time. Others you grow with, and their lyrics mean more to you when you're older than when you were younger, right?
Totally.
Is there a 1975 song that kind of like sticks out more nowadays that you didn't appreciate earlier?
I don't know. I think like there are so many songs that I look back on, like 13-year-old me listening to these songs, and they are so unbelievably sad and intense. And I'm like, wow, like I really was just feeling that. And now I'm in a place in my life where I rarely like to get into that deep, dark side when I'm listening to music. I love to listen to like more upbeat stuff in my day-to-day life.
Kind of like an escape.
Yeah, yeah. Even if the lyrics are more sad, I don't know. I'm just like, if I'm driving, if I'm walking down the street in New York, I'm like, I don't really want to be. I'm very sensitive to music, so I don't really need to be crying on the street. But yeah, I just look back and like, I'm such an emo kid for like wanting to hear that all the time. It formed me.
Did you get into was the emo phase of like Fall Out Boy and MCR after too early for you?
I just mean like emotional. Yeah. I don't mean emo, like the genre.
So you didn't go through a goth phase?
No, I didn't.
So sad.
I know.
There's still time.
There's still time.
Yeah.
There's still time.
It's very interesting how this brand of therapy pop that you call is kind of adjacent to this and somewhat a layer of what you grew up with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I call it that because it's kind of therapy for me, creating it. But listening to all of the music that I grew up listening to and like discovered, that was such a form of therapy for me to hear people singing these words and these lyrics that I was like, I felt those exact same feelings, but I didn't understand that they could be like put into a phrase like that. So sort of a mixture of creating and listening has been like such a big form of therapy for me.
What is that like, being an artist in the making, consuming, versus a 13-year-old girl just going to high school, you know, freshman year, sorting out her feelings, trying to fit in, and trying to relate to whatever Maddie is singing? Yeah.
I don't know. I think she'd be very proud. I always think about how like, I didn't really know that I wanted to be a singer-songwriter artist until, or I hadn't really written music until I moved to New York. So I was a pretty like anxious kid growing up. I didn't really know if this was in the cards for me. It was always like my dream, but I didn't know what was going to happen. So I think 13-year-old me was kind of like using that as my outlet and like loving that kind of music, and didn't know if that was going to be like what I would do. But I'm very happy that it has worked out the way it has.
It's got to be so gratifying to find it on your own versus being in LA and like, oh, I have friends that are making records too, and stumbling into writing groups and not really knowing what you want to do, right? it's become very common for songwriters to rely on journals and their own experiences. So I'm very curious about the songwriting process of getting lyrics together, coming up with melodies and all those things. So like Better in Heaven, for example, like where does a song like that start?
That song is about like my first heartbreak and thinking that it was like gonna last forever, and then kind of coming out of it at the end and being like, okay, this is all gonna be fine. But most of my songs are, I'm always writing in my notes, just like little ideas of things that are kind of stand out to me, or like visual things. And that song just came from like kind of hoping that, like being so desperate for not feeling this heartbreak anymore, being very dramatic about it. And then by the end of writing the song, it was actually like, I know it's going to be okay. So that was definitely a very therapeutic experience writing that song. That was like one of the first times I've written a song that I like, you know, by the time I was done writing it, I was like, okay, that's a time capsule, and that's like can live on its own now.
You said that when you went to NYU, that psychology and understanding human behavior and all those classes, I'm sure, were part of that. How much of that seeps into understanding yourself to become a better songwriter?
Yeah, so much. I think it, at a certain point, like I think when I was in school and thinking about it and writing essays on it and whatever, it gets a little bit like you get too in your head about it. But again, I think learning about psychology was so helpful in learning that I'm like normal, and that like all of these emotions that we all experience are so universal. And just like sitting in a lecture of 300 kids and you're like, everyone's like, yeah, I get that, you know? It was like really interesting.
Artists and songwriters are like famous for, or notorious in some regards, for overanalyzing and overanalyzing themselves and being able to emote and put that on paper or in song. How much of that is applicable to your music?
A lot, definitely. Yeah. I think it's what makes me, I just care a lot, which is obviously great. And there are times that it's really hard and I wish that I could care a little bit less. But I think in the end it is worth it. And there are the moments of like overthinking and going back and forth and that are not fun. But I think also the more that I grow and the more that I write, the more that I have learned that I just love to collaborate with people. And that's very helpful in that. Just kind of like someone being like, it was a good take, let's move on, you know, instead of like me sitting there and kind of overthinking it on my own.
What about your lyrics though? Because you may write something down, you're like, okay, this is a song. Yeah. But then you're like, no.
The lyrics I'm less, I overthink less. The main thing with lyrics for me is like, which I've gotten better at, is like, I would just sit and overthink if it was like true, or like if I really like agreed with it. Which I think at a certain point you just have to like let go of, because if I'm writing it and if it's coming out of me, I feel like it is in some way. But yeah, I think also it's just not always applicable to like be writing the most heart-wrenching, true thing. It's great sometimes, and then other times you just want to write something more fun.
Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's too much and overwhelming.
Yeah, and having both is like ideal. So
how much is this therapy pop versus psychology pop?
I feel like I'm just not a licensed, I can't say that. I don't know, I think therapy
Psychoanalyst pop.
Therapy to me is just a lot more of like a comforting, broad term. It's more like, there's so many things that are forms of therapy for me. Like, I love to craft, I love to, you know, do so many, like be with my family, be with my friends. Like all of that is a form of therapy for me. So I feel like therapy is just a bit of a broader term.
Crafting seems therapeutic, but also a lot of work and very messy.
Yeah, depends what craft you're doing.
What craft is so therapeutic for you? All my crafts are very stressful.
I'm very into coloring at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I'm picturing glue, paper everywhere, sticky hands.
That's great too, but I don't know. I think I'm very into these like origami stars that are great, not messy at all, and they're very quick. I need a quick craft too, because I get a little impatient.
I would really love to see your Pinterest board.
Yeah, I have a craft Pinterest page I can show you. Yeah.
My mother knows you because of a video from some years ago
Yeah.
with your dad.
Yeah.
She's a big fan of your dad and Tears for Fears and whatnot.
Me too.
Overall, how do you look at it now? What is it, 5 years, 4 years later?
Yeah. I'm very grateful for that video. That was a moment that I feel like touched people, and like the comments on that video were kind of like, it came out of nowhere, and I don't know how it did what it did, but just like people, I've like met some people that have seen it and loved it, and it meant a lot to them, and that was like my first time experiencing that, so it made me want to make more.
I was going to say, that must have given you a world of confidence in your voice at the very least, right? Yeah. And how does your dad feel about some of the music that you're making now?
He's very proud. I think he obviously has been through all of it, so he has a lot of wisdom. So it's like ideal for me because I have like a little therapist already. But it's also so different for like even just like the business side of things and everything. So he's learning a lot, and we teach each other a lot. Yeah, it's a different world now than before. You have a handful of songs out right now. Mm-hmm. What's the plan? I hear so many exciting things, but I need to hear it from you directly. Yeah. I've been working in LA, in New York, and London, just writing a lot. So it's like finishing up all of those things, and hopefully there'll be like a body of work that'll be coming soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the work has already been written. It's just a matter of recording?
Yeah, or finishing production. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's so great to meet you.
Yeah,
really
thank you
appreciate
so much.
the time.
Great to meet you too.
And best of luck with everything.
Thank you.
Diva Smith, right here on B-Sides.